Hi there, Doug from unSkript. In this video, we're going to walk through a RunBook that deals with a Kubernetes Database Cluster recovery. And so what's happening here is we've got a cluster of nodes in Kubernetes, and each one of them has a database, and one of the databases has become corrupted. And so this is a RunBook that when this happens, we can just walk through the steps and automate them so that, there's less chance of mistake, and it's just a lot faster because we have all the steps laid out with the right kubectl commands to run everything. Now, there are a lot of steps in this, and I'm probably going to zip through a few of them just because they're not really pertinent to the video. We're just going to I'm going to show you the steps that are really important. The backing up, the spinning down, and the spinning back up again. And, some of the configurational stuff we'll skip. One configuration thing that I do want to show you is that this is a customer's RunBook. And in the outputs, it's spitting out the customer's name. And so I've built an obfuscator, and I've turned on obfuscation. So it's going to just change the name of our customer to database. And that way it's just going to say database 0, database 1 instead of the name of the company. And the first step here is to set your EKS context. For the sample database that I'm running, I'm doing it on Google Cloud, so I'm going to skip this step. The first step is to get all the pods that are in the namespace. And so this is just an unSkript action to get a list of all the pods in the namespace. When we run this, it outputs, and you can see here we have 3 alpha pods and we have 3 worker pods. The next step is to run a JQ command, and that's just going to get us the name of the first worker. Next, we want to find the leader nodes for both the alpha and the worker nodes. And you can see here it has found them. It says that it's alpha 0 and worker 0 are our leaders. The backup name is simply month, day, year. So now we're going to back up the W folders and back up the T folders on the non-leaders. And you can see this ran 3 times, and all 3 times it worked. And now we back up the Ps on the non-leader. Now that we've backed everything up, we can now clean up all of the worker or 0 pods in our namespace. So this is just creating the command. And now we're going to do that cleanup. Now we're going to do the same thing with the alphas. So now we've scaled down the alpha to 0 replicas. Now we can scale down the 0 or the workers to 0 replicas. And now we have no pods up in our namespace. So we've turned off the entire cluster, and now we can begin rebuilding. So now we've turned off our entire cluster. We're going to start spinning it back up again with all of the good backups. So we're going to scale up the 0 group or the worker group to 3 replicas. And now as I click this, we'll watch this go up. We're at 0. Now we're at 1. And now we're up to 3 of the 0 or worker nodes. And now in step 10, we're going to start scaling up to the first alpha. We're going to make sure that first alpha is up and running, and then we'll scale it up to 2 alphas, and then we'll finally scale it up to 3. So we just do this stepwise. Once we've scaled up 1 alpha, we should have 3 of the workers and 1 alpha. So this should now come up to be 4. So we have 4 pods, so we're all set. These steps right here are if all of the P databases were corrupted and we had a backup on S3. We could copy the backup to our 1 alpha, and then it would propagate across all of the alphas. But we don't need to do that. We can see that now the alpha pod is up and running, and now we can scale up the alpha group to 2 replicas. So because number 1 is running, now we can scale on number 2. We can now verify that we have 2 alpha pods up and running, and now we can scale up to that 3rd alpha. And so we'll have 6 pods total up and running. We're here, we have 6 pods up and running. We can check that all of our pods are up and running, and then we can just verify that everything is good. And this should just come up as 6, and everything is up. And now we have recovered from this issue where one of our database was corrupted. And by what we did is we found the good databases, we backed everything up that was bad, we made sure that the leader replica had all of the good databases in it, and then we spun everything down. And when we spun it all back up, when it replicated across, it used the good database from that last alpha that was the leader. This RunBook will soon be available in our open source, but you can see how easy this would be to build. It's just using a bunch of kubectl commands and it helps you automate your disaster recovery. So when you're stressed out and you don't remember everything that needs to get done, it helps you walk through all of the steps in a stepwise manner so that there's no forgetting one of the steps. You can just boom, 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 and work through it. And because it's all automated, it runs much faster than it. Thanks for watching.